yay, design is back, kinda. So obviously my little 2-week hiatus, turned out to be way fucking longer, so sorry about that. But hey, I'm back. And that's kind of the problem, is it's just me who's back. A little too much stuff going on for me to keep doing the awesome collaboration I've been doing with so many other voice actors. I unfortunately couldn't keep that up and also keep this series going. So I sent them all emails and they were all very nice about it. So instead of keeping you guys waiting for Design Season 3 to continue, we're just going to continue it now. Hey, at least we're getting the story out there. So without further ado, let's get to it. And now that I've kept all of you guys waiting so long, let's do a short little recap of everything that's happened in design so far from Season 1. Aw yeah. Design follows a protagonist named John Matthews as he discovers a weapon of mass destruction named Callie Ames. Callie Ames is a girl John once knew who has since been killed off by a parasite that now puppets her corpse. The name Left Hand is coined for these beings because the parasites use humanity against itself, in a similar manner to how left-handedness is theorized to be an evolutionary advantage against other humans in combat. Left-hand parasites kill off their host and assume total control at around 13 years of age, while using the host's old brain as a method in which to distort matter. Basically, the creatures practice telekinesis and possess an ability to heal significant injuries in a matter of seconds. The hosts are always girls, and they tend to experience delusions and violent tendencies prior to being overtaken by the parasites. Still, more or less up for debate is why these parasites are emerging now, and what their goal is. An unknown program has launched a counterattack against the emerging threat, using militarized parasite-infected hosts against each other. The problem lies in that left hands are unable to harm each other using matter distortion, as a subconscious block known as the negative feedback response exists in their minds to prevent them from killing their own kind. As a loophole, the program has begun fitting left hands with failsafes, devices that inject a continuous small dosage of poison into the portion of the brain theorized to be responsible for the negative feedback response. As a result of their damaged brains, the left hands become zombie-like, emotionless, thoughtless, and slow-moving. However, they can also be used as obedient weapons with their newfound ability to kill their own kind. Callie Ames is one such test subject, but her failsafe has been taken offline by the time she meets our protagonist. As the poison fades and her human memories return to the parasite, the duo struggle with the question of her humanity and what it means to be a monster. John, dazed and horrified at this new horrible subsurface of society he has discovered, eventually sides with Callie, and for better or worse, makes it his goal to prove her humanity to a world that will not hear it. Season 2. Julie Rowe is another classmate of John who survived the massacre that took place in his 8th grade class. She gives valuable information into John's past and reveals details about how the parasites reproduce. Also, she's batshit crazy. Dr. Cleo Dahmer is a scientist working with the unknown program, and as she rises to power, she seems to have far more sinister plans for the parasites, humanity, and the entire world. She has instigated a new initiative known as the Daughter Program, in which infants of 4 to 8 years of age are forcibly injected with adult parasites, creating monsters with little to no humanity and a heightened ability to kill other parasites. Along the way, Callie is killed by one such daughter, a subject known as 104. Season 3. It is at this point that the narrative splits into 2 dimensions, one continuing with John on his own, as the other loops back to the beginning with alternate events. In the looped timeline, the Homebound arc, Dahmer is killed long before she rises to power, along with most of the program's occupants. John never meets Callie, instead coming to work against her as he falls for a girl named Cersei Parsons, the current leader of the decimated program attempting to stop the parasite threat. In the continuing timeline in which Callie has been killed, the facility arc, we follow John into a facility owned by the program in which Dahmer has successfully been able to convert him into a left hand as well. Her reasons for creating a male left hand are currently unclear, but she has instigated a series of death matches known as chances, in which parasites must kill each other using clever loopholes, or be killed themselves. In this chaos, we meet Mari, a parasite without a host who resides in a body constructed from scratch and proclaims herself to be God. She also suggests the existence of separate dimensions to John and supposes that this timeline may be their last chance to fix the bleak future that is tearing the timelines apart in the first place. John agrees to help her on the condition that he can retrieve Callie from another dimension. John also meets Subject 02, a left hand who commands fire, and Cersei Parsons, who in this dimension exists as a left hand as well, having become the very monster she tried to destroy. In this dimension, she is simply known as 8. John enters his first chance against a creature known as Subject 52, a 13-year-old girl. She is a 5th-class parasite, meaning she uses her own flesh and bones to construct dangerous weapons. John is able to beat her in the chance without bearing a scratch with the help of a facility journal logging the developments in the study of left hands. Although the journal allows him to exploit loopholes in the parasite's design, its origin is unknown, though it is heavily hinted that it may perhaps have come from Cersei Parsons in the Loop Dimension, the Homebound arc. John has proclaimed that his goal is to save both himself and 52 in the chance designed to have only one winner. In order to do this, he accepts the same penalty test that will befall 52. The specific test is unknown, but it will be an experiment designed to take their lives. To beat Dahmer, John must keep himself and his friends alive in a facility built to kill them, and figure out the problem of dimensional splicing Mari is so fascinated with. As the underdog, John is making a series of demands of Dahmer, playing a game in which, for every chance he wins, she must forfeit something to his benefit, and he will forfeit something for hers. As the two become increasingly wounded by this game, John is ever aware that Dahmer is only playing for fun, and will cheat her way out as soon as she comes into any actual danger. John states that his end demand will be her life, but as it is clear Dahmer would never fulfill this demand under any circumstances, John's true intentions and plans remain a mystery. In the Homebound arc, we are made aware that Mari may not be who she says. The line between Satan and God is blurred, and she is revealed to be the culprit behind the massacre at the facility, sending an unknown message to an unknown recipient using the blood of countless victims. It becomes clear that whatever she truly is, she may be capable of sidestepping between the dimensions in some fashion, and whether Christ or the Antichrist, she is certainly hiding something. How are the two dimensions connected? What is the future Mari is truly fighting to achieve? And what does it mean for John, Cersei, Callie, and for humanity? Can they, as pawns in a chess match of a universal scale, ever hope to fight for their own destiny, or will this game play out exactly as designed? Welcome to Design, Season 3. The phone buzzed again. My groggy eyes slowly twitched as I tried to pry them open. Cersei groaned softly, curling further inwards. she mumbled to herself in her sleep, eyes fluttering yet remaining closed. The ceiling finally encroached into my blurry vision, and I felt the floor beneath me as I lay on my back. Stinging tears immediately dotted my eyes. I blinked heavily, trying to sit up before realizing that Cersei had collapsed beside me, sprawled across my arm. The limb pulsed with punching numbness, circulation cut off. The phone never stopped buzzing, slowly working its way across the desk as a vibration scuttled it like an insect. Cersei's body again shifted, shrinking inside her lab coat as she grumbled again, letting out a slight shiver. My face reddened as I desperately tried to work my arm free without disturbing her. What had happened? I didn't remember falling asleep, but then again my position suggested it wasn't exactly voluntary. I glanced at the clock in the room before sighing. Cersei and I had been at the passcode for another 48 straight hours. It was no wonder we had begun to fall asleep in the middle of tasks. For even Cersei to be in such a position. The phone clattered to the floor and she suddenly stirred. Her foggy, blood-red eyes blinked away murky dreams, gaze drifting lazily as she slowly wiped away tears with ginger hands. Several seconds passed before she focused on me, and her expressionless face went white with embarrassment. Damn it, she hissed under her breath as she recognized her surroundings, brow furrowing on my arm. I tried to yank it free in panic, but she just put more weight on it, eyes sparking. I'd appreciate it if you didn't assault me in my limited sleep, Jonathan, she mused, mouth curling into a sarcastic smile. Keep your hand there and I'll flay you. Right, I nodded rapidly, shaking my head and struggling in outright horror now. I didn't mean to. Cersei just leisurely turned on her side towards me, keeping my arm intentionally compressed as she fished inside of her lab coat, eventually sliding out a large hunting knife like it was a tube of lip balm. Cersei? I cried hysterically. Cersei, wait! The jet black blade just glimmered silently as her lips maintained a cooing grin, her eyes narrowing. Move your arm, she toyed, calmly pressing the metal to my skin, causing my veins to spark with ice. 5, 4, 3, 2... Cersei! My voice hit unreal octaves of horror, feeling the blade slip beneath the skin as she physically held my arm down. Jesus, stop! Director? A voice suddenly spoke, a tall silhouette standing in the doorway. Cersei frowned, pausing for several seconds before slamming the blade into the ground, inches from my arm. Just a warning, she whispered, running her fingers along the paper-thin gash in my arm and flushing out a twisted, saliva-filled grin. Smith, she then spoke, rolling over and jumping to her feet. Something you couldn't have told me over the network. I had to tell you in person, Director. The man spoke straight, eyes staring ahead. Did not mean to interrupt. Cersei's brow furrowed. Interrupt? She seethed. Interrupt what? What a petty phrase. If you're going to stand there with something to say, don't make stupid comments and apologize. Spit it out. I turned to see the phone on the floor, and my eyes scanned the screen as I lifted it up. 14 missed calls from Penny, and several messages. Director, the man spoke, assumedly breaking protocol as his eyes flashed down to her. My chest constricted as yet another message came in from Penny. It was a picture. I was on my feet in seconds, heart palpitating mercilessly as the blood drained from my face. Penny. I shook, the world swaying around me, vomit sloshed into my throat. Manson isn't responding, the man continued, and we have reason to believe the communication network has been compromised. Cersei whirled to me, wrenching the phone away and scanning it rapidly. Her eyes narrowed before splitting wide, her fingers digging into the keypad as she scrolled through faster. Impossible. She shook her head. Why would 12? She knew Manson had 47. The man spoke. They were no match. Their team stopped sending out information 2 minutes ago, but none of them have flatlined. If 12 didn't kill them, it's safe to say that 12 wasn't trained in hostage situations, Cersei screamed, fingers clenching so tight the phone nearly snapped. How is she doing this? We have to accept. I spoke numbly, each word threatening to spill the accumulating vomit. If 12 has Penny and your team, then get a trace on this number now, Cersei hissed to Smith, slamming the phone into his hands. We don't negotiate with weapons of mass destruction. If her failsafe isn't intact, everyone there is as good as dead anyway. Wait, no! I cried. Cersei, we can't just... She whirled around with a flash of silver, and I felt the cold press of a gun barrel against my forehead. Why does 12 know you after her memory loss? She gnashed. How does she know your relationship to Penny? I was speechless, horrified eyes watching her finger twitch at the trigger. Smith left the room with the phone. Speak, John, Cersei forced the barrel forwards. Why does Subject 12 want you? How did she know she could use Penny to get to you? I have no idea. The words spilled out in a terrified mess. Cersei, who do you think I am? I don't know. Why would she trade me for any hostage? I'm nobody. Her eyes constricted to insanity-ridden pinpricks, her hand shaking on the gun before she let out a cry of rage, hand whipping the barrel towards the computer and unloading the entire magazine into the screen. Damn it! She screamed hysterically, fingers curled into fists. Director, the man came running back in. A new message from Subject 12. Cersei's electric eyes thrashed to stab into him, her hand tearing away the phone. My eyes widened as I saw the screen. Cersei frowned, hand running through her dull, rosy hair, bloodshot eyes scanning the message carefully. Bluffing, she grumbled. 12 cannot remove 47's failsafe without killing her. If, however, she can pull it off and is trying to use 47 to put time pressure on us to trade you in. She sighed, hands resting on her hips as she nodded to Smith. Smith? She shrugged. We need to assume 12 is telling the truth, and 47 is on her way to kill me now. I'm beginning to entertain the necessity of killing John. Make sure he doesn't freak out. Facility Arc. The lights flickered violently, the room tumbling into view as 105's hand gripped mine. I gagged, coughing and gasping for air as I staggered on my feet. Blood swirled around me, 105's hand only leaving mine after it had all wound back into our bodies. Jesus Christ! I squirmed, rubbing my arms. That's what teleportation is like? Ah, that fucking sucks. I met 52's gaze beside me, her eyes still wide with shock as 105 walked past us, wheels clacking on the floor from her Heelys. So, what do you think the test is gonna be, eh? I whispered to 52, grinning as the rest of the room slowly flickered to life, row after row of sterilized tables greeting us, instruments of every kind strewn across some of them, others completely vacant. How? 52 breathed, shaking slightly. How did you... Relax, I whispered. It'll be a piece of cake. I lost, she hissed, hands beginning to claw down her face, eyes buried under hair. The chance. This isn't... I've never... I can't.
Hello? Hello?
A male voice suddenly spoke. I looked up to see 105 standing in front of us, little purple backpack emitting the sounds from the speaker within it.
Subjects 52 and 76.
The voice continued.
Due to the rare nature of two subjects, one of which is a willing participant, today's test will be one of distortion-borne infectious diseases, toxins sporadically mutated by subconscious matter control.
52's eyes clenched tight, small fists balling at her sides.
Subject A,
The voice crackled.
will be injected with a protein compound surpassing second-class denaturing capabilities. The modified dormant strain of Kuru-inducing prions will be introduced into Subject A's brainstem. Following, Subject A will sustain a large head wound, losing approximately 1/1000th of their neurons. At this point, a strain of negative-sense RNA hantavirus will be introduced alongside the dormant prions. Once the culture is established, Subject A's God node will be allowed to heal the lost neurons, missing information forcing it to sample from the dormant faulty proteins, subconsciously creating a cancerous mutation within the developing neurons. Reread by the hantavirus, the continuous attempt by the God node to heal impaired sections with damaged information is suspected to facilitate a neurovirus directly contagious to other distortion-based life. Essentially, a cancer spread through thought alone.
52 was having trouble standing, lengthy sleeves shaking.
Subject B will be in quarantine until this point.
The voice continued.
Once Subject A has restored functional capability to a degree equal to their baseline scores, or lesser to by up to 5 points, they will be introduced into the same containment space as Subject B. To facilitate interaction between the neurons of Subject A and B, both will be asked to complete a task requiring cooperation, but not physical contact. The prion-driven hantavirus is expected to have an incubation period of 3 minutes, with brain degeneration appearing at the 15-minute mark, lapse of consciousness at 30 minutes.
The speaker crackled slightly.
Death to the host will occur 40 minutes after the infection.
The voice continued.
The God node toxifying itself with prions and failing between 5 to 10 minutes after the host ceases homeostasis. Absolute failure of the subject and termination of life is expected no later than 1 hour after infection.
But it's just a theory, eh? I grinned at 105. If the mutated hantavirus isn't contagious, then Subject B could survive, right?
This is correct,
the voice spoke.
though numerous testing has predicted an R0 of far higher than 1.
R0 is how you measure how contagious an infectious disease is. I smiled to 52. Also known as the reproduction number, higher than 1 means incredibly contagious. I've done some reading recently. She didn't move. She didn't even look to be breathing. Well, in any case, I sighed. If there's a chance 52 will survive, if I can avoid transferring the virus to her, I suppose I'll go for Subject A. Get my brains bashed out and filled with deadly shit. 52 flinched then, jagged hair parting as she looked to me.
Yes, 76.
The voice crackled.
You indeed have been assigned Subject A, as that is the position of the willing participant. If you have no further questions, 105 will teleport you to an isolation chamber for prion introduction. Are you ready?
Can't wait. I smirked, taking a second to nod at 52 and pat her head. Let's do this.